If you're feeling overwhelmed with the amount of work that you have to do, that's probably a sign that you're not surrounded by the right people. In this video, I'm gonna go over exactly how to hire the right people and the methodologies and frameworks that you can use to properly integrate them into your business. My name is Tim Calise, and I am the founder of multiple 7-figure businesses and number 2 to multiple 8-figure CEOs, including most recently Alex Hormozi at Gym Launch. And I will share with you everything I know about how to profitably scale and grow a business when you subscribe to this channel. So I think when you're thinking about hiring, it's actually less about just going out and putting out a job rec and starting to interview candidates and things like that. I think the first step is you have to understand kind of your role in the process. I think we're very quick to action without reflection. So first, I would think about, what are you trying to accomplish? So typically we hire to take on a responsibility or take over a project or a part of a role that is currently played by somebody else, and that person might be you. So first is, what do you want to be in the business? And then think about that in the context of who else you might need on the team, whether it be for tactics or skill set or what have you. And then through the hiring process, who do you become? And I think this is really important because I work with a lot of folks who are tacticians, so they're really good at what they do, but then they start hiring a team and they have to become more of a manager, and they really don't enjoy that transition. You have to really think about kind of who you are first and who you want to be. So if you want to remain a kind of high-level executor, then one of the people you probably need to hire is someone who can run the team or is more process-oriented, et cetera, more operations-oriented, so you can stay in where your quote-unquote zone of genius, resides. And so once you think about that, then you think about things like, well, what type of culture do I want to have, and who are the types of people I actually want to bring on? And I think a lot of this stems from, the hesitation that a lot of folks have in delegating, for example, is because they don't hire the right type of person. So they hire for a skill set, but not the right cultural fit. And for you want to have confidence that you're giving someone else an opportunity in their area of strength. So for example, if you're not good at process writing, SOPs, for example, you might not like doing that. If you hire someone who just absolutely loves the idea of process, not only will that help you, it'll help feed your energy and buy back some of your time, but you now have someone that you've put in a role and given them, ownership over something that they love doing. And it's really a 1 + 1 = 5 kind of analogy. And when you do that, you will have the confidence to be able to delegate tasks to them because they will perform at a high level. And then you get to a point where, even if it's not quote unquote perfect or the way you would do it, 80% done by somebody else is better than 100% done by you. And that is how a business can start to generate momentum and build a culture of ownership and responsibility. Here are the exact steps for you to follow to attract and hire the right type of talent. I like to do sample work, pretty quickly, but you can understand how somebody thinks. So for example, starting with the job recommendation, I would put in there words like, likes to take ownership over things, self-motivating, self-starting, self-administrating, things like that. People who are not the type who need constant oversight, that would never fit with me. And I think most of the organizations that I deal with, everybody has, they start to push responsibility downward rather than trying to hold it, kind of at the top of the organization. And so the steps I would do would be include the right language and verbiage in the job recommendations that you put out. Referrals, go to your network and say, these are the types of people I'm looking for. They should be sending them to you all the time. I think in business, we're always talking about client pipelines. I encourage folks to always have a team pipeline. So you always want to be attracting talent, because typically you can find a role if you have somebody who's really, really strong. So that's the first. The second is in the interview process, be completely unapologetic about who you are and how you work. because you will attract A players by setting a standard of you're going to own your domain and I'm here to support you. That will attract some people and repel others. And I think the third is, as you get closer to a hiring decision, I would give somebody a sample project. And it can be as simple as 10 or 15 minutes. It's not it doesn't have to be multi-day, but just something that is a real life example of what you would expect them to do. So an example would be something like, we are looking to integrate some kind of AI tool into our meeting note to create meeting notes and summaries of the meetings that we have. That's all the direction I'm going to give you. Your budget is, no more than $50 a month. Come back and tell us how you would solve the problem, or, what solution you would integrate. And then they would come back and say, so I looked at 5 different things. I narrowed it down to these 3. Out of these 3, I researched these 2, and I think this is the best one. And then you can go with it. So when I say that 80% done is better, by somebody else is better than 100% done by you, that would have taken your time, your resources, your switching cost. And at the end of the day, they found a solution that was really, that fit the need. So, I like to kind of see how they think, in technology companies for the last, couple of decades, they always ask you questions just to see how you think rather than look for the answer. Google's famous for saying, how many golf balls will fit in a 747? And it's not actually about the actual answer. It's just how you think about, okay, there's the volume of the airplane and, the golf ball's a certain size and we can estimate those things. That's because they want to look for certain thought patterns rather than looking for specific outcomes. So 3 steps, super simple. Make sure you've got the right language in your job recommendations. Number 2, when you're talking to them, be unapologetic and unwavering about who you are and what you're looking for. And number 3, give a short kind of thought process generated trial as part of the interview and hiring process, because you want to see that before you make a final decision.